Hello, and welcome to the second lesson of my series, Salesforce for Beginners. If you're new to this channel, please go check out my first video on Introduction to Salesforce. So let's get started. In this video, we are going to dive into the first section, which is Salesforce CRM Administration. First, I'm going to give you an introduction to what are applications, objects, tabs, and fields. Next, we are going to get into hands-on practice and learn how to create our very first custom application. We're going to then create our very first custom object and fields, and in the end, we are going to create a custom tab. So let's see what an application is. An application in Salesforce is a workspace where the user works. So, for example, a sales executive will work on the sales application, and a marketing executive would work on a marketing application. Now let's see what is an object. An object in Salesforce is like a data table which stores users' data in Salesforce database. Think of it like an Excel sheet. For example, an account object will store multiple records of its client's account details. So each row in the table is basically a record of a client. Now let's see what is a tab. A tab is a user interface between application and an object. So if a user wants to store a record inside an object, he will have to interact with a corresponding tab to make it happen. Now this is because a user cannot access the object directly to store a record on an application. You'll get a better picture of these topics in a while when we get into the hands-on practice. So moving on, let's see how applications, tabs, and objects are related to each other and how it actually works. As you can see in this figure, let's imagine that the user is on the front end. The first thing that the user sees after logging into the browser is the application, which is the application page. In the application, you have a bar which consists of multiple tabs. Now these tabs are nothing but the interface between the application, which you can see in the front end, and the Salesforce database, which is the back end. Now the Salesforce database is where the object stores user records. So let's say a sales executive wants to store a sales account details record in the Salesforce database. First, he'll log into the application, access the sales object through the sales tab, and when in the sales object page, he'll create a record and store it in the Salesforce database. And that is how it works. So let's see the structure of an object. As I said earlier, you can imagine an object like an Excel sheet. It has rows and it has columns. The columns are nothing but the fields that make up an object. Now a row is nothing but a record. A record consists of multiple field values which together makes a complete record. Now that we know what are applications, objects, tabs, and fields, let's learn about the two different types of each of these elements. The first set is standard, which is created by Salesforce, and all you can do is customize them. That is, the standard application, standard objects, standard tabs, and standard fields are readily available to you by Salesforce.com. You can directly sign into your Salesforce account and have access to all of these. The next type are the custom ones. For example, the custom application, a custom object, custom tab, and custom fields are all created by the organization or you. You can create, modify, and delete them. This is required when an organization wants to make customized application based on some customized requirements of the clients. So now it's time for some hands-on practice. Before I teach you how to make your very first custom application, let us go and see all the standard elements of Salesforce. For you to do so, you'll have to sign into your free Salesforce developer account on www.login.salesforce.com. If you don't already have an account, which I already explained how to make in the previous video, go check out the first video, Introduction to Salesforce. The link is in the description. First, open your browser and enter the URL www.login.salesforce.com. On the login page, enter the username and enter the password and click on Login. You're now on your Salesforce homepage. To see all the standard applications, go to the top right corner, check out the drop-down menu. These are the applications available to you by Salesforce.com, or the standard applications. I'm currently on the sales applications. Next, you can see this bar. These are your tabs, or the standard tabs. As you can see, this is the standard tab for accounts. This is a standard tab for contacts. When you click on the tab, it takes you to the home page of the object. To store a record in an object, you can click on New. Here, enter the details to store a record in accounts object. So I'll take an account name here, KFC. You'll notice a red pipe on this field. A red pipe signifies that this field is mandatory. That is, for this record to save, you'll have to fill this information, which is the required information. Other fields are not mandatory, so even if you save without entering any details in them, the record is still going to save. So click on Save. And our record KFC is now stored in Salesforce database. You can see the details, account name KFC. So now that the record is created, you can go access the record anytime by again going to the Accounts tab. Here in the Recents account, you can see KFC, which is a record we just created. Click on it, and you're back to the KFC record page. So now that we've seen the standard applications, the standard tabs, and the standard objects, and how to create a record in it, let's go make our very first custom application. Quickly write down the navigations to create a custom application. Alright, click on Setup, which is on the top right corner. On the Setup page, scroll down. In the side menu, go to Build. Under Build, we have Customize, Create, Develop. We need to go to Create. Click on the little arrow. After a menu collapses, click on Apps. In the Apps page, click on New. Select a type for the new custom app. We're going to go with a custom app and click on Next. We are now in the Enter the Details stage. Enter the app information like the app label name. I'm going to name it School Management, and as soon as you do that, it automatically generates an app name, which is basically the API name, which will be used to access this application during programming. Let's write a little description. This is my first application, and click on Next. Here in the third step, you can actually include an image for the logo, which will be displayed on the top left corner of the page. Now we'll stick with no logo. I'll teach you how to insert a logo in an application in another video. So for now, click on Next. Now in step 4, we need to choose the tabs which will be visible in your custom application. So in my school management application, I want accounts. So click on Accounts and click on the Add button. You can choose all the tabs you'll require from the available tabs section and then take it in your selected tabs section. So I'm going to choose another tab, which is Opportunities. And here you have the default landing tab, which means that when you click on the application, the first tab that opens is your default landing tab. Click on Next. Now this step allows you to assign the application to different profiles. In every organization, there are multiple profiles for different users. For example, you have the Analytics Cloud Integration user, you have the Contract Manager, you have the Sales profile, and many different profiles. Your application will only be visible to the profiles that you make this checkbox visible for. For example, I make the first checkbox visible, which is for an Analytics Cloud Integration user. So when an Analytics Cloud Integration user logs into his account, in his drop-down menu, he'll be able to see my application. But when a sales profile logs into his account, he won't find the application in the drop-down menu. But for now, we're going to make it visible for all the users. Click on Save. And there you have it. You've created your very first application. Go to the top right corner in the drop-down menu, and you can see your custom application is now visible along with all the other applications. Click on your school management application, and there you have the landing page, the Home tab. As you can see, the tabs that we selected, Accounts and Opportunities, are here, but the rest of the tab is empty. That is, all the tabs that we did not select are not visible. Let's click on the Accounts tab. As you can see, we still have access to all the records which were created in another application, which was a sales. That's because the accounts object is the same throughout the whole organization, but you can still change the settings in the various profiles, which we'll see in some other lecture. Now let's see how to create a custom object and insert custom fields in that object. We are going to create a custom object named Students, and it's going to have the following fields. The first one is name, which is basically the standard field. That is, when you create an object, it by default creates a field called name. We're going to create father's name, and we're going to create phone, which is going to store the phone number. So quickly write down the navigations to create a custom object. Okay, so now let's create a custom object. In your Salesforce account, click on Setup. Scroll down. In the side menu, go to Build. Under Build, click on Create. Once a menu collapses, click on Objects. In the Custom Objects page, click on New Custom Object. Here, we need to enter the details for our custom object. In Label, select the name. Here we need to provide two different types of names. The first is the singular, which is student, and the other is going to be the plural for the same, which is students. Write a short description. It's optional. Scroll down. As I said earlier, students will now have a by default field called the student's name. Its data type is going to be text. We have other options which we do not have to enter right now. In development status, you can change it to in development. Click on Save. There you have it. You've created your very first custom object. Now there is a point I need to clear, which is, as you can see, the API name is student__C. For any field or object which is custom, after you enter the name, it enters an __C on its own, which makes the API name. Now this API name will be used to call for the references which points towards this object. We're going to learn about it in detail in other lessons. Now if you scroll down, you can see the standard fields in your custom application. Now these are the fields that Salesforce creates every time an object is created. Created by, last modified by, owner, and as you've already seen, the student name. You can also see the custom fields and relationships. Now this is where you create the custom fields for your object. You can directly click on New, but let's go through the longer navigation. So to create a custom field, click on Setup, scroll down again, go to Create, which is under Build, go to Objects. Here, you can see your object which you just created is now visible. Click on the object, and there you have the object page. Scroll down, and you're back. Now under Custom Fields and Relationship, click on New. Alright, so the first step is to choose a data type for your field. These are all the primitive data types available to us. As you can see, we have text, text area, we even have URL, time, and currency, or date and time. We are going to take text and click on Next. Now enter the details for your custom field. Field label is going to be father's name. You can enter the maximum length for the field. Let's say 10. That is, the name cannot exceed 10 characters. Write a description. It's optional. Now if you click on this checkbox under required, it's going to make the field mandatory. That is, if you don't enter father's name, your record is not going to save. You're going to let it be unchecked. Now unique means that the same name cannot be inserted in another record. Again, let it be unchecked. The external ID, let it be unchecked, and click on Next. Now this is to provide field level security. That is, which are the profiles that can access this field when they open the object. Make it visible for all and click on Next. Now add to page layout. Well, you simply need to click on Save because we're going to learn about it later under page layouts. So there you have it. You've created your first custom field. The API name of your object is students__C. If you look under customer fields and relationship, you can see you have your father's name field, which has the API father_s_name__c. As you can see, __c is again included in the API name. Now we have these underscores and we've lost the apostrophe because, well, you cannot have special characters in your API name. API names are used in codes. Similarly, let's create another field. Click on New, check phone, click on Next. The field number is PH number. Click on Next. Check all the checkboxes. Click on Next. And save. There you have your second custom field. Now we have a custom object and we have a custom fields. But you can see we cannot access it by any means. To access it, we need to create a custom tab, which is going to be the interface that will provide you a means to access your object. So let's see how to create a tab. Quickly write down the navigations for creating a tab. So now let's create a tab. To create a tab, click on Setup. In the Setup page, scroll down, go to Build, under Create, go to Tabs. On the Custom Tabs page, go to Custom Object Tabs and click on New. Here you need to enter the details for the Custom Objects tab. First select the object. We only have one custom object, so in the drop down select Student. Now tab style is the color and the icon which will be displayed on the tab. So in the lookup, let's take, well, we have multiple options, so let's take a chess piece and the symbol is basically a horse or a knight. There's nothing much to it. You can just click on next. Again, you need to choose the profiles for which it's supposed to be on, which is basically the profiles that will view the tab. Let it be on by default. Otherwise, you can just click on this radio button and manually choose which are the profiles that you want the tab to be visible to, but let it be visible for all and click on next. Besides the profile level security, you can even choose which are the applications that can have access to this tab. Since all of these tabs are checked, it means that the tab will be visible on all the applications. So if you choose sales, you'll have a tab on this tab section. But let's change that to just school management system, which is the application that we created, and let's have the same on the sales application and click on save. Congratulations, you've just created your very first custom tab. As you can see, the tab is now visible on the tab section. Click on the tab that you've recently created, and now you have access to your student's object. To create a record in your student's object, click on New. Enter the details. Enter the father's name. Enter the phone number. I'm going to take any random number, so don't try calling on this, and click on save. There you have your very first record in your custom object. Click on the tab again. There, in the recent students, you have Gohan. So that's it for today's video. If you like the video, press on that like button, comment and share the video, and subscribe to my channel BeginIT. Also like us on Facebook and visit our blog on WordPress. So this is Devjit Chaudhary, and I'll see you next time.